Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast. We're up to the final film of the Mission Impossible franchise. We're up to Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning from 2025. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate, we've seen these films. We know how they end. I wanted to ask you, what was your thought on The Final Reckoning when you saw it?
Okay, I saw this movie. I distinctly remember my viewing. This was last year. This came out, 2025. I went to the big IMAX here in my town in Orlando. Huge. Well, the biggest one we got. I went to that. I was like, got to see this on the biggest screen. When I remember walking out and liking it. I liked it. I thought it was very good. I said, okay, that's a nice finale. That was it. That was my thoughts. I rewatched it. Obviously, this review we're doing now is the first time I've watched it since the theater. I never rewatched it in between.
Well, when I saw it in the theater, me and my wife, we were like, we're going to see it in the biggest, the greatest sounding. We saw it in, not IMAX. I think we seen it in Dolby Cinema. And I got the best sound they offered. And I was like, I always prefer the sound over watching the bigger screens. Only on certain movies you get to watch the bigger stuff. But other than that, if it's an action movie, Dolby Cinema it is for me. Anyway, I came out of that movie and I was like, yeah, not for me.
I remember.
Yeah, I did not like it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I did not like the movie at all. That's the only time that I seen that film. I purchased it on 4K. It was still wrapped because you was like, we're going to cover the entire thing. I did not unwrap it until I saw it for this episode. So I was like, holy crap. And did things change? We're going to talk about that in a few seconds, but I'm going to give you guys domestic, international, and the final box office for Mission Impossible. Did it go up?
No
way.
I don't think so.
Worldwide, this made $598 million. It is the lowest, not the lowest in the entire franchise, because there's other ones that were low. Like,
the lowest in the last, 5.
Yeah, out of the last 5, this is the lowest one. International was 401. Domestic, did it go up? No. Domestic was 197 million. Even domestic was like, nah, this movie sucks. They did not go out with it. But this is the final movie. And we kept doing the whole, when did it come out? Did it go up against another big movie? Well, yes, this movie did. May 1st, Another Simple Favor from Prime Video came out. May 2nd was Thunderbolts. Marvel's Thunderbolts, which that was a big one. We saw that in the theater. We talked about that. Number 9, May 9th was Friendship and the Substance came out.
The Substance. Okay.
May 16th was Final Destination Bloodlines. That came out. I remember seeing that in the theater.
A nice little hit.
Yeah, that was a little sleeper hit there. And then, of course, May 23rd was Final Reckoning, which is Mission Impossible. And then May 30th was Karate Kid Legends and then Bring Her Back, that zombie movie, which I want to see again. I didn't get to see it. I wanted to see it. It looked interesting. But
creepy.
Yeah, it looked creepy. But I was like, I'm not seeing that in the theater.
What came out the week after that? One more week after. June. Like the first week of June.
First week of June, they didn't give me that. I could pull it up. You want me to check it out?
Just see. Yeah, just to see.
Okay.
Did this even have a 2-week runway? Because at least those are, Bring Her Back's an A24 movie. And
June
one
6th.
Said,
oh.
Yeah. Well, what came out then?
Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff.
Which came out. Screens.
That took a lot of screens.
Yeah, it's going to take some screens.
Yep. And then How to Train Your Dragon was June 13th.
That took a ton of screens as well. Okay, so once again.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I get releasing this in the summer. It's a summer movie for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to pick a date. Be the first one out. That you know what they should have done? April. April's close enough. It's almost like the new, look, this, as we're recording this, Super Mario Galaxy comes out next week, first week of April. And that's going to be a huge movie. But guess what? There's like nothing else after for like 4 weeks. That could have been this.
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to run this just so quick. June itself, this is why I didn't make no money going down the line. How to Train Your Dragon, June 13th. June 20th, 28 years later. That's a sequel that everybody wanted to see. I mean, it was a piece of crap.
There's a lot of hype,
but it was mad hype. Last but not least, June 27, F1, the movie with Brad Pitt. That was a big one.
It took all the rest of the IMAX screens. It didn't lose to like Ballerina or whatever.
Absolutely right. And you know what? Even in April, there was no way this was going to make money. Why? Because April of 2025, the first film of April was a Minecraft. That movie was a big hit.
Like $1 billion. But look, that proves my point. The very first movie of April, it made like $1 billion. if they would have picked a month, come out right at the beginning of the month and just dominate the month. But no, they said, let's be the end of May, surrounded by tent poles.
And I'm going to read these off just to end this thing, okay? What other movie came behind Minecraft, okay? April 4th, The Friend. April 11th, The Amateur. April 11th, The King of Kings. April 11th, Warfare. That was a pretty good action movie.
It was good, but small. It was a small movie.
Sinners. Michael B. Jordan's Sinners came out. April 18th, The Legend of Ochi, whatever the hell is. Until Dawn, April 25th, and then The Accountant 2, April 25th. Look, there was a lot of sequels in that bunch, and there was a lot of new big hits that people saw. Minecraft was the biggest one here in the entire list, and Sinners.
Sinners was big. Also, the audience for Sinners and the audience for Minecraft are not the same people. They are Minecraft, that's an R-rated movie. Minecraft for kids. Teenagers were seeing it like 5 times. I still think they got to fire their.
No, they got to fire it. Look, for the Final Reckoning, I could finally say it. It's a disaster of a final film and I'm not talking about movie. I'm talking about in terms of marketing and box office. It's a disaster of a film. From all the highs that we accoladed, you saw the numbers. People went out and drove to see this thing. And it just started to trickle down. Each movie's just going down. Why? Because the scheduling was affecting the movie. They did not isolate the problem. And the problem was whoever scheduled the Mission Impossible movies needs to get fired. I don't care. The guy's been there for 50,000 years. You got to fire his ass because, man, there is no way that you could sit here today and tell me a Mission Impossible was a failure. It just had bad scheduling. But anyway, with that said, let's get into the critics and audience and what they thought of the Final Reckoning.
I mean, these scores are good. So I feel like there's something to our theory because it's not as if this came out and had horrible reviews. Now, these are lower. They finally went down after going up and up and up and up for forever and ever. However, if you just look on paper, these are not bad. The critic score is an 80% for this one, which would put it in the middle-ish of the franchise. It put it in the middle. It's higher than 2. It's higher than 1. I think it's higher than 3. I think it's lower than 4 on, but still right in the middle. And then the audience score, and that's down 16% from the last movie. The audience score is down 6%, but it's still an 88. So it's like, okay, the people who went to see it liked it, 88% of them, but the other people didn't go see it. And so, yeah, the critics and audience scores are still high, not as high. These reached peak level last movie and Fallout. Those were kind of like as high as you're going to go. But these are still good. I'm sure any action movie that came out with an 80 and an 88 would be like, hey, people are liking it. We got a good shot to make some money. And the thing is, it made money. It just cost so much that it didn't make money. Right? The budget is like $300 million or something.
Yeah, for the Final Reckoning, yeah.
It had to make like $1 billion to even, not $1 billion. It had to make like $750 million or something.
The budget was $400 million.
Dear God. Okay, so that means it had to actually make like $1 billion to make money. $400 million budget's actually insane. Okay.
To break even, the film, which serves as a direct continuation of Death Reckoning Part 1, budgeted around $290, faced multiple shutdowns, cost to balloon. The experts suggest that because of the massive production and marketing costs, the film will likely need to cross roughly $800 million to $1 billion to turn a profit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I said. Like $1 billion to even make money. So that's 2.5 times the budget. $1 billion is 2.5 times the budget. And that's like the sweet spot. That's a crazy number. To set yourself up to have to hit $1 billion to break even is a crazy proposition. I don't know what they were thinking. None of the other Mission Impossibles ever made $1 billion. I think the most was in the 800-ish million, right? So, yeah. I don't know. Again, we haven't given our opinions on the film. It's not necessarily reflective of the quality.
No.
I mean, it was a failure.
It was a failure. But let's get right into the Final Reckoning. This is the final review for Mission Impossible until they make another one. Most likely they did say they're making another one. Tom Cruise. So
really?
Yeah, he reached out to some chick director, Tai Chow, some lady Asian director to write and direct. So he's planning on making another one. But right now, this is the final review here on the channel. If they do another one, we'll do another review on it. But
yeah,
right now, this is the Final Reckoning, the final review on the AMG podcast. Nate, what is the lead character score for The Final Reckoning?
All right. So I had been at a 5 for the last couple, and it hurts me to do this, but I went down 1 point to a 4. I'll tell you why. I still love these guys, obviously. Luther, great. Ving Rhames back. Smaller role this time because he dies. He dies.
Smaller role because he
dies early too. Like he dies in the first act, which is fine. You know what? To me, you kill a character that's been around that long, it's okay. I think it's weird that they wrote him to where he was going to die no matter what. Like he's all of a sudden sick. But that's more for storyline. But anyway, he's got like AIDS or something, and then he's also dying and living in a bunker. Okay, gets blown up. But anyway, still love him. He's great. I do like the scene, though. I like the scene with the bomb, and it's very good. Benji, back. Great. We got Grace. Now, I'm going to tell you. Oh, and then we got Ethan. I'm going to tell you why I minused. Ethan, he was great. He was there, right? He's always been there. But this movie, for him, as far as his character, it has not added anything. The whole thing of like him trying to protect everybody, even that layer is kind of missing because of the mission itself that he's going on in this movie. It is a very solo thing. Like his team has to help him in parts, but it's a very much, I got to do this thing and I got to get it done. And so that dynamic is lost, which hurt a little bit. Grace talks. I don't know if you noticed this, Alex, with a British accent in this entire movie. And she did not have a British accent in Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I Googled it because I'm like, am I losing my mind? Am I crazy?
Yeah, she was English.
Sure enough, she had an American accent in the 7th movie and a full British accent the entire 8th movie. Weird choice. I don't know. I don't want to put that here. I feel like that should go more in like storyline because I lump script in with storyline. Like it all counts. Whoever decided no one would notice that this lady's now British, they were wrong. I noticed it almost immediately. And Hayley Atwell, her real accent's British. She sounds great. She should just been British in the last movie. What's the big deal? Why make her American? Just let her be British. She still looks great. I still like the team. I like Benji. I like the close call with him and with Paris. I kind of like that whole thing where she has to save him because she's been a bad guy and like her reaction. I thought all that was very good. I think it's very good, but I minus the point. It went down a bit. I gave it a 4.
Yeah, look, I agree with everything you said. My only thing that I would add, I felt like the age on all the characters felt it in this movie. Not much action sequences between a lot of the agents. Only Paris because she's young, so you can see her doing the fighting. Even with the Benji doesn't even do nothing at all. He's just there. He's just there. Exactly. He doesn't do nothing. He's like the Rhames, like his character from the older when he was Luther. Yeah, he became Luther because he was on like mission 3, 4, and 5, 6. He was hands on. And then he just became Luther. He just in the background telling them what to do, pretty much. I didn't like him as much. I mean, character was good. I'm not saying he was horrible, but he was good. He didn't do much, right? Rick Rhames' character, Luther, we don't know what the hell he got. I'm like, I agree with you. I'm like, wait a minute. How the hell did he get cancer? Like the last movie, did he do like a mission and he got exposed? That would have been a cool tie-in if you could show a flashback of him getting exposed, didn't tell the team, and now he does. But you're right. My man is in the underground bunker, and I'm just like, okay, great. How the hell did the bad guy Gabriel know where he is? Like,
yeah, they got a hospital bed in there,
dude. They
have a special nurse who lives there with him.
Yeah, like to take the hospice
in Europe.
In Europe, yeah. So I'm just like, I felt weirded out with that. That was weird. That's just to kill a character to kill a character. They did not know how to kill him off. I think they did that because they didn't want the fans to. I personally believe the backlash of Rebecca Ferguson would have been another backlash if they killed Luther in another way of how they did with that. Because I would have preferred him on the field getting killed.
Imagine if the final scene when those people stay with the bomb, he does it,
and
but he blows up.
Yeah, I would have been like he died.
He can't run because he got AIDS or whatever.
Why AIDS? You keep giving him AIDS
because they don't say what it is. He got AIDS. I don't know. It's a mystery disease.
It is.
It's got to be AIDS.
I'm like, wait, what? But no, I agree with you. I think that would have been a better, because he always said that you never have to. You don't live a normal life as an agent, so kind of makes sense. He saves the guy that pretty much the first movie, but
died in Africa. In that bunker. saving the whole other team.
I agree.
I think it would be, because it's the same concept, right? He died defusing a bomb that it blew up, but it didn't blow up like nuclear or whatever.
Right.
You could have just had him throughout the movie, built all the stuff. He could still be sick. You don't even have to change that. You just change the timing of when he dies.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I agree. I don't know. I just feel like in terms of the hero, Ethan, they did not do nothing. Ethan, Tom Cruise is aged. I'm sorry.
How does he look like 5 years older than the movie before?
Yes.
Filmed like 2 years later.
He looks aged. I felt like this was a carbon copy of the first movie. That's what I feel like in terms of Ethan. There was nothing new, like you said. And then again, it's a part 1 and supposedly this is a part 2, which if that's what you're going to tell me, sure. But in terms of physicality and looking, he looked aged. He did not do much hand to hand. He didn't even fight Gabriel, for crying out loud. No, he did not.
In the plane.
He just punched him in the face and broke his arm. He was like, ah! And we'll talk about that in action sequences and the bad guy. But I deducted a point. I'm not going to go with 3. I gave it a 4 just like last week's Mission 7 because I felt like it was trajecting in terms of the characters. It was just flatline to me. I didn't see it go up or totally drastic change on all of them. If they did something weird and quirkier, I would have been like, oh, this is a 3. But no, they added more people in. Grace, I never liked that character. And even this one, I didn't like her as much in this one. Rebecca
like
Ferguson.
Her British? Now that she's British?
Now that she's British, I agree with you. That was stupid. I hate. That was the same thing with Holly Berry in X-Men. She had an African accent, and then she went to English accent by the third X-Men movie.
Or Wanda in MCU. She went from having a
Russian
a Sokovia accent to nothing. So from Ohio.
No, in Rogue, right? In the first X-Men, she had the Southern accent, and then went to American accent. So I guess it happens. But at the end, that's not the authenticity. You gave us, that's like having Lara Croft British and then goes English by the third movie. So I get it. But anyway, with that said, 4 across the board here. Main character is Gabriel in this one and the syndicate and the robot, the entity.
All right, guess what? I gave Gabriel a 4 last movie. I liked him. I thought it was good. I gave him a 2 in this movie. He's barely in this. Dude, okay, there's things in this movie that I like, and I'll save it for other parts. This ain't the part, because this is the worst villain in all of the 8 movies because is not there. He is not there. He's in the very beginning. Cool. Captures Ethan, captures Grace. They escape. He kills Luther, right? Yeah. And then you literally don't see him again until the very end of the movie. He's always, he's there in the background, but okay, he's off screen. It wouldn't have been as bad if the movie was 2 hours, but at 2 hours 49, you don't see the guy for like 2 hours of the movie. So that was weak. Number 2, I thought he was formidable in the last movie, and he's not formidable here. Yeah, okay, captured them, but then the henchman, he doesn't stay and fight them or do anything himself. They beat up the henchman. He runs away, scared. Then in the plane, he was trying to survive. It's an interesting sequence, but fighting-wise, there's not much you can do, right? Like, you're driving a plane, he's just trying to shoo him off, and then he has that line where he's like, I'm the only one with a parachute, and then he dies. He hits the thing. Fine, I like that death, actually, but it's just a matter of if I'm scoring this villain, those are not impressive things. And then the entity, again, to me, it's a MacGuffin. It's not even like it's not a real true villain. But it's not. It's a means for this guy to control certain things, but it's not tangible or whatever. I don't know. I think this movie is not focused on the traditional good guys, bad guy setup. And so the villain, it gets a low score for me. I gave it a 2.
Yes. When it comes to the bad guys, I agree, which I gave it a 2. I didn't like Gabriel. I didn't like him in the other one. I gave him a 3, though, because he did a little bit more, but this one, they did not know what to do with the character. They did not know what to do with the villain. They had him just run around back there like one of those 90s villains that you could give craps about. I still say to this day, Simon Lane is the best one in the entire series, and I'll stick to it. The best one. Gabriel was garbage. They never fought each other. Horrible. All he did was run around. Oh, I know what's going to happen. All he do is he knew this was going to happen. That's going to happen. Bro, at the end, I was getting tired of it. I'm like, dude, this like, why? Like, who cares? Like, you have the president. Then you had the whole thing with the president of the United States, which we got to talk about the storyline, because that's another situation on top of the whole plot. So I did not like it. I did not like it at all. He was garbage. Yeah, he killed Luther, but technically the entity told him to, and all this BS. I hate the entity. I thought that was stupid. I literally thought it was stupid. That you're right. A MacGuffin is not even the word. It was just a waste of plot line. It was horrible. The choice of using AI, I mean, it didn't do nothing. You just put fear in everybody. I get it. You put the fear in the world and they act weird. But at the end of the day, in terms of villainy, he didn't do nothing. He didn't turn off the nuclear power plants. Like, this thing didn't do nothing. At least in the Age of Ultron, my man did stuff to the world. Like, I mean, he took people's monies away. You know what I mean? So I just feel like this is the weakest point is the villains in this movie. They just didn't do nothing at all. So with that said, that's 2 across the board here. Okay, action sequences.
All right. As far as the action goes, at this point, it's kind of hard for them to... They've reached a level where they can't really go backwards. So everything is kind of bigger and more elaborate. I think this is the best part of this movie. I love the plane sequence. I think it's very cool. I think it's very well shot. I think it's exciting. You get like, it constantly looks like he's going to fall off of that plane for real. You know he's not, but it looks like it. I love the choreography of it when he's kind of like floating in between the things and the fight. I think it's a great finale. I personally love the scene where he's fighting the dude in the submarine with like when the guy's trying to come up and stab him.
Yeah.
And while that's happening, there's also that shootout in the house with like the Russian guys and all that. Great sequence. Short. I know your thing is they got longer and longer and longer. That one's pretty short. It's not a long one, but it's very exciting, very thrilling. And then the submarine scene. Now, it's not full on action. To me, it plays more like a suspenseful scene because it's underwater. But I'm going to count it as a set piece. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. So I still gave it a 5. This one does have, though. And so this one, I was interested to see what you think this time through, because one of your things, which I totally understand in the last 2 movies, was that the action set pieces were so long, right? This one actually has less action than the last 2 movies, if you think about it. So it's more plot. So I'm interested to see what you thought here. But yeah, for me, I thought they were great still, and I gave them a 5.
So I was very seesaw with my score with this one, because the action sequences, while they feel kind of short, the submarine scene is very long.
It's like 20 minutes long.
It's very long. I think me and you could agree, it is the longest action sequence in the series is that scene. Then comes the airplane scene that he did with Gabriel. That was way long. But I don't know if I could consider him getting into the submarine action, because he does get into the submarine. I'm not talking about him fighting the dude. I'm talking about him getting into the one to get
yeah, that's the one where he goes to get the Podkova thing.
Yes, the Podkova yeah, that thing. That was a long sequence. Very long sequence. While him getting trapped in there and the thing is folding and it looked real and everything.
It's like silent. There's no dialogue.
Yeah.
And it never cuts to what everyone else is doing.
Right. It made you feel like you're underwater with him during the whole time. I give it a lot of credit and respect in filmmaking.
Sure.
In terms of action sequences, I'm like, this is way too long. It's way too long. Him getting out of it, and my problem, him getting out of that submarine and losing his air tank and everything, it was the prior scene when the scuba diver lady tells him, if you lose this stuff, you're going to get into convulsions and you're going to die in like 2 milliseconds. And my man is literally, because Angelina's she's certified diver. So she was like, bro, he would not even survive coming out of that, like, at all. Like, even getting taken more down, the pressure, she was like, he would have been done. And I was like, it's a movie, it's Ethan Hunt, and they're not going to kill his ass in underwater. So I get it. I totally understand. My thing is, it's very, and you said it the best in the last one, suspense thriller in one of the scenes in the other one. Like, it made you gasp, like, oh my God, is he going to die? Is he going to get captured? Is he going to, whatever. But very lengthy. The plane scene was way too long for me. Way too long. He gets on one plane, gets on the other plane. Then he's fighting with Gabriel. lackluster in terms of Gabriel and him. And I totally agree with you. It's a very aerobatic thing going up and down, very 007 60 shot style, or like Roger Moore, right? Like them fighting in the thing and then going up and then it goes down. But this one is real because he's literally on a real plane. So I'm giving it kudos. The house sequences is pretty dope with the Russian when they're in Alaska. That was a pretty cool sequence. I thought that was good. Inside the mines, I thought it was pretty cool. The car chase scene with the Jeeps was pretty cool, but we didn't get much driving sequences in this one or bikes. I think they blew their wad in the other films.
And they did like car chases in the 3 movies before. This,
yeah,
so we're gonna make it short.
Yeah, I think they blew their wad. They were like, we're going to do a Jeep just to give people their chases. My only gripe, and I see that you gave it a 5, and I don't mind it. I gave it a 4. While the quality's top notch and everything, the quantity great. For the thing is more heavy on the story than action. My only thing is certain things with the action, like my man came out of he flips over in the Jeep and he literally ran into the airfield when this dude before he came out of, and they're playing the music and he's like this and he's running through the forest, and then from the forest he ends up with Gabriel taking off on the yellow plane and he almost got onto the plane but then it took off. And I'm just like, bro, my man didn't even take a breath. He just ran from the cave. He did my man Riggs. Remember when Riggs used to get mad and he used to run after the bad guys through the highway in Lethal Weapon?
This is Usain Bolt.
I think so. He's Bolt.
Fast.
He is very fast for an old 60-year-old dude. I give it credit in terms of the physicality and everything. I just feel like this, and it sucks because I love the sequences and everything. It's just redundancy of the last movie. Nothing wow factor for me to go in. Oh, I think the submarine scene is the best submarine scene I think I've seen in a movie, period. But I mean, in terms of like the aerial, we saw the aerial already. What more aerial can we do? He flew a helicopter in Fallout. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I just felt like a 4 to me. I think it's great. I don't know if it's perfect. I still believe the other Dead Reckoning Part 1, Fallout, and Ghost Protocol, and Rogue Nation, if you put them all together, those are perfect because we never seen those before. We've seen car chases, but not like the one that we saw in like Ghost Protocol when he smashes 2 dudes in between 2 buildings and rotates. So it's hard for me to drop it to, because you gave it a 5 or perfect. I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna stick with it because I felt like it was very redundant. I didn't see nothing new and fresh besides that submarine shot. But that's just me though.
That's fair.
All right, 4 and 5. Let's go with the storyline.
All right. So I hated one thing about this movie. That was the villain element. I think the action's the best. This is the one I'm the most mixed on because I do think I actually really like the mission itself, right? Mission Impossible. That's the name of this franchise. And this one seems like one of the most impossible missions that has been in any of the movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, bro, there's no way. There's no way. But in a good way, not in a bad way, not in a like they got to go to space and not like that, but just like everything got to go a certain way. They screw up one thing. And I think the movie does a great job of effectively telling that story. I like that Ethan has to do this stuff on his own. I love the submarine scene. Like I said, I think like it makes sense. Like when they explain it, it makes sense. Luther made this thing. You're going to put it on this thing. That's the source code. It's going to basically get it to like try and go to this one location. And then because Ethan knows it because it showed him in that little box. Yeah. And then they come up with a thing that's going to it all makes sense. I'm never confused in this movie, which I like. This is an unconfusing movie. Here's my problem and where I mark off points. It's so unconfusing because all of the dialogue is exposition. These characters do not talk like humans through most of this movie. All they do is explain everything. If you watch this movie, any given scene, just go to any scene. Basically, all the dialogue consists of, we got to do this. This is how we're going to do it. This is what could go wrong. And this is what's going to go right. And this is what we're going to do. Every single scene is that. All of them. Who is this? Who are you? What's your mission? I'm here to do this. I'm going to do that. The submarine, and the captain. I love that character, by the way. Great character. I like him. I like his whole, he's like, oh, you want to poke the bear? You came to the right place. I'm gonna do it. Let's do the mission. You know, he don't even know him.
Yeah.
Anyway, even that part. What are we doing? Why? Who sent you? Whatever. Let's do it. Anything with Benji and Grace and what is that? Why? How are we going to do it? That's all the dialogue. And so I noticed it more on this. I noticed it the first time, trust me, but I noticed it more this time. I'm like, dude, all their dialogue is exposition. That's all they're talking in is explaining, which on one hand, the movie's not confusing at all because of that, but it's too much. It's like, we're also not dumb. We could kind of figure stuff out without everything being overly explained. So I don't like that. I do like the mission itself. I think it's good. I don't like that this lady has an accent. I think the script's a little wonky. I don't think they thought of certain things like that. It's a weird choice. And my only other gripe is I think this is a good send-off, right? But I like certain ties and I don't like certain ties. So I'll explain. I like the rabbit's foot thing. I like that they brought that back personally. Because remember at the end, he never finds out what it is. They're like, what is it? He's like, I'll tell you later, whatever. I don't mind that they used that. What I don't like is the beginning part where they're showing all the flashbacks from the other movies. And it's like Resident Evil. Remember when we did Resident Evil?
Oh, yeah, that's your journey.
And every Resident Evil starts with a flashback of every other Resident Evil. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't need a last week on Mission Impossible. And it's showing you all this. I didn't like that part. I thought it was a dumb beginning. I think this has the worst cold open. It's not even really a cold open because the credits don't start till 23 minutes into the movie. It's a full-on scene, but I don't like that part. So it's like, okay, there's things I like. I like the callbacks. I like the characters that come back. Like, I thought that was cool that you see the guy from the first movie that's in the thing. And I like how they use them. You know, all that's good, but certain stuff's not good. I gave it a 3. I feel very mixed about the plot on this one.
Good thing, because I gave it a 2. Everything you said is absolutely right. Way too much explaining. It's way too much explaining. My other thing is useless things in the movie that did not need to be there. If this movie's about the entity, then make it about the entity. We had Gabriel running around. We had the entity going around. We had dudes about to nuke each other because the entity put so much fear in everybody and everyone's on the edge of their seat. And what's going to happen if Ethan doesn't come through? And I got sick and tired of it because I'm like, this is so stupid. At the end of the day, it's way too much plot, heavy on the plot. With nothing at the end of nothing. The robot, Grace by a millisecond. Grace is so fast. She put it in this little capture and looked like a Mario little glowing thing that will make you powerful. Like, that was so dumb. Saving it on the thing, awesome, great. But the entity didn't do nothing for 2 movies. Nothing. Just put fear in the government, in each of the governments. And I was like, okay, whatever. Ethan Hunt was being chased down by everybody because he had the key to this thing. And they want to know where he lies. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, and you said it. I think every Mission Impossible movie, he's been gunned down by these government people. Like, he was never like, he could walk into an office. He was like, well, wanted Ethan Hunt. You had Jim Palmer's or Jim's son in the movie. You're thinking he's going to kill him because he killed his dad. No, he did not kill him because of his dad. They become friends at the end. And I'm like, oh my God. Grace, useless. They bring her. I don't get it. Honestly, dude, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, is the story takes you from one end to another? Sure, it does. It's another mission. Like you said, it's another mission. But I think this thing could have been told so much better if Gabriel was an actual villain. Actual villain. I think the plot line in the bunker with the president was boring. I thought it was boring. I was like, we didn't need this. I could understand the whole conflict with is she gonna hit the button or not? But again, I didn't care for it. Like, I didn't.
Even that, like, it's so overly explained. Again, it's like, these countries don't have theirs. Well, why are we here? Well, we got to be the only ones who do it. Well, why do we got to be the only ones who do it? Because if we do it first and we'll blow up our own city, then they'll know it was because of this. Well, why are we going to? Well, because we got. That's the dialogue in the movie.
Yes,
everything
you're
is
right.
Explaining. It's like, oh my gosh, we get it. We know why.
It gets boring. Oh, they open up the bomb. Oh, if you cut the red wire, then the red wire is going to link to the battery, and the battery is going to go right into the plutonium. The plutonium is going to link into this rock, and the rock is going to chain reaction that's going to do like a milliton. And then everyone's like, oh, how are we going to do this? Everyone goes into a room. I got this. And it's just like, oh, here we go. The same bomb that Luther decided to do. And I'm just like, and then Benji's dying there. He's like, oh, and he's like, all right. He does his own freaking surgery on himself dying. Who the hell does that? He had to explain that. I'm like, come on, go into the bag and then throw alcohol on that knife. And then you're going to stab me like 1 milliliter thing across to my heart. And then you stick a pen. And before you stick with the pen, dip it in alcohol so I don't get infected. And then stab me.
Yeah, like why are they explaining? I know he has to tell her because she's not a surgeon, right? But there's still like a shorthand way to do it. Then,
dude, she could have had meal.
That's every piece of dialogue.
It is. You're absolutely right. I gave it a 2 because of that.
To do this. It wants us to do that. Why?
Yes.
Because it knows if we do this, then we'll do that. But it doesn't know if we do this, then we'll do that. We want to confuse. It's like, oh my God.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt with the first movie. When Gabriel's explaining and then he's explaining to Ethan Hunt is explaining to one of the characters and he goes, yeah, but if I turn to right here, then he ain't gonna know because he's not expecting it because he's expecting me to go left. And I'm like, just fucking do it, dude. Like, I don't care where you go, just continue with the story. But no, you're over explaining. So anyway, I gave it a 2. Okay, overall.
All right, now here's where look, I like the characters, I like the action, I like the mission. I have some issues with the script, but overall I like the movie. I think it's good. I think it's a good send-off honestly, at the end of the day, I love the submarine sequence. Filmmaking wise, I think there's a lot of quality here. I think this actually has one of the better scores of the Mission Impossible movies. That submarine sequence reminded me of like a silent movie, like a Buster Keaton, right? Where you got a guy doing all this stuff, no other characters, never cuts away. I also love the way they expand the aspect ratio in that, where he turns the knob and then the screen gets wider and wider. Like, very cool that. Technical stuff. Yeah, that was neat. So there's a lot that I like. I ultimately ended up with a 3.5. I felt comfortable with a 3.5. I think it's like a 7 out of 10 movie. I think it's good, but I definitely liked it a little less than when I saw it at the theater. I don't think it's a bad film. To me, there's too much good things in it to be like, no, it's bad. But I don't love it. I would say as far as this franchise, it would be in the bottom 3 out of 8. I do think it's better than 2. I think 2 is the worst. It is. Even though there's some fun elements, it's the worst. And I think this is better than 1. Even though I'd put it more in line with 1 because of the suspenseful sort of stuff. But I think all the other ones are better. I think 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are. I like 7 way better than this. I don't know what. I know this is the continuation of that story, but I like that one better by quite a bit. So I ended up with a 3.5.
Yeah, this movie I gave it a 3. It's hard for me to say this. It's a good movie, but I don't think it's great. Honestly, I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I just think it just carries along the crap that they gave you in part 1, which I prefer that one over than this one for some reason.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think this one, for me, this part 2 is tied with Mission 2. Mission Impossible 2. While 2 is garbaggio.
For your least favorite.
These 2 are my least favorite. I just did not understand why they went down this. They could have told a way dope ass story. With these, but anyway,
I think the COVID stuff really jacked this up.
It did
for them too. I think it really changing the script, changing the villain, I think it hurt it irreparably. Like they could not fix this.
It did what it did.
It is what it is.
And it came out and it didn't do as much in the box office. So anyway, with that said, Nate, that is our final Mission Impossible review on the series. Look, like I said, in the whole, I enjoyed this watch. I thought it was a great watch. My total point was a 15 out of a 25.
Okay, I 17.5 for me. So that is one of the lower ones.
It is. It is. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought this was a great series.
It's a great franchise as a whole. Yeah, it's one of the best.
Yeah, and if I had to put them in order, I'm not going to put them in order, but I will just say if you watch them from 3 on up, you're not going to be disappointed. I think it gets better for each film going on up, but the stories get worse the more it goes up. It's so weird. But anyway, with that said, Nate, what is coming up next on the podcast?
Okay, so next up, we're continuing. So this is the new seasonal format. This season was movies based on TV shows, or the way I wrote it, TV shows turned into movies. Now, Mission Impossible was the franchise that is that. I'll just go over the next 8 and then I'll say which one is next. But we have 8 more. So there's 8 Mission Impossibles. We're doing 8 other ones, but all of these, no sequels, baby. These are all one-offs. So coming up, we're going to have Baywatch. We're going to have The Lone Ranger. We're going to have The Fugitive, which I can't believe we haven't done on this podcast yet, but we're going to have The Fugitive. Miami Vice, which we watched during the Michael Mann Director Spotlight, but we've never reviewed it here.
Yeah.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E., boy Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer in a Guy Ritchie movie. The SWAT with Colin Farrell and Samuel L. Jackson.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Speed Racer, which should be out on 4K by the time we review it. And then our next episode, and that's a cartoon, by the way. All the rest of these were live action. Speed Racer was a cartoon, but it is a live action movie. And then the next episode will be an old, I think it's a 60s TV show called The Green Hornet. Now, Green Hornet and Baywatch, kind of action comedies, but they have action in them, so we're going to do them. But Green Hornet will be next, starring Seth Rogen and that guy. I forget his name. And Cameron Diaz is in that one as well.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys. You guys are watching us on YouTube. The episode, you guys can hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoy what you're watching. Hit that like button if you enjoy the episodes. Leave some comments down below. And you guys could also take us on the go if you guys don't like the video version and you guys want to take us on your gym or you're walking the dog. You guys can take us on the go with the Action Movie Guys podcast, available on all podcast platforms. And again, hit the like, leave some ratings. Until then, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.